papers, but Dr. Lorraine Bayer, Bayer, yeah, independent candidate for Macedon. Welcome.
With all government's faults on both sides of politics, people do still fundamentally trust the government not to support and promote products that are high risk and harmful. The community and consumers expect to be protected through laws and regulations from risky and misleading products. They trust that a product or service they buy is subject to fair trading, product safety and consumer protection legislation and policy. People also trust organisations that promote pokies like the AFLs, the RSLs, the supermarket chains and local sporting clubs. And the goodwill and trust that people have in these organisations has been a perfect shield to hide behind when there's been criticism of pokie machines. What's become increasingly obvious to myself and others who have looked into the pokies issue is that the government is either grossly ignorant or grossly complicit in the promotion and protection of a harmful product and of concealing from consumers the information they need to be informed consumers. In Victoria, pokie machines are designed to take up to $6,000 per hour from players, even on the 1 cent and 2 cent machines. This is not a reasonable amount of money for anyone to pay for any sort of entertainment for 1 hour. And it puts players at serious financial risk. Despite this, pokies are concentrated in poorer areas and pensioners can lose potentially several months of their income in 1 hour on the pokie machines. The single-age pension was $3.22 a week. Misleading and deceptive features are allowed in the design of pokie machines, and there are many of them, including the feature that disguises losses by showing them as winnings, which happens 150 times per hour. False near-miss jackpots are also designed into the machines to mislead players into thinking that they've just missed a win. Actually, they haven't. It's a deliberate designed feature to excite them and keep them playing and paying. Why is it the pokie machine product is not subject to normal consumer protection laws? Why do the design standards for pokies exclude consumer safety features? Aristocrat pokie machine companies spent $117 million in 2007 on research and development into pokie machines. With no product safety and consumer protection standards applied, one can only imagine the changes that are being made to attract and hold players to the machines. This level of expenditure is horrendous enough, but to add insult to injury, the government actually provides tax incentives to conduct research. We don't blame people who are the victims of misleading advertising or deceptive products, yet the government does this with pokies through its problem gambling services. It's always about responsible gamblers, not about responsible gambling machines. The self-responsibility model used by government ignores the vulnerability of consumers. 35% of problem gamblers have a severe mental illness. That's from the Productivity Commission. And aside from personal vulnerability, consumers cannot by law be called irresponsible where the product is misleading. The reason I'm standing as an independent in the seat of Macedon is because I'm sick and tired of government's dismissive and patronising attitude towards local governments and to the wishes and needs of communities. My loyalty is with the community, not a political party. And if elected, I'll be challenging the weak approach and spineless approach of the government has shown in the face of these multinational, multi-billion-dollar gambling industries. I'll also be standing up against the government who's sided with clubs and hotels in their stand against introducing measures to make the actual pokie machine fair, transparent and safe. While welcome, pre-commitment technology is an impost on players. Why not simply make the machine safe by eliminating the misleading and deceptive features and putting in place consumer and product safety controls like we do for every other product? Now the government is restricting the ability of communities and local governments to respond adequately to applications for pokies in their areas. While the harms are well known, local councils are duty-bound to argue against more and more pokie machines in their areas. Government has decided that all applications for pokies will be assessed by councils, which is welcome, but without giving them any resources to fulfil the new responsibility, which costs about $80,000 per application. Additionally, government has imposed a 60-day limit on council responses, an impossible timeline for proper consultation and social and economic assessment. My specific policies in relation to gambling are to change the gambling legislation and regulation to protect the health and economic well-being of players and communities, including changing the 10 machine per 1,000 adult population ratio from local government area to local area. People don't realise that all the machines for that area, local government area, can be concentrated in one town. So you can have 100 machines per 1,000 and still be within the density limit. Change the gaming machine national standards, make pokey machines answerable to normal consumer safety, and strengthen local government and community capacity to participate in decision making by reversing the 60-day time limit and providing local government with resources to conduct proper assessments.
My question is actually about differential rates. Could you just speak a little bit about why you think that's an important social policy tool for local governments to have, and how that will facilitate changes around the number of pokies in local communities?
It was about differential rates for...
Yep. Pokey venues?
Yeah, well, particularly where they're council-owned properties, I mean, I think it's a good idea. I think there's only one or two local government areas that have actually done that, and there's been a huge amount of kerfuffle about it. It just seems fair that the community can get something back into the local community. At the moment, if you look at community benefits, it benefits the club members, it benefits the venue, but very, very little. I think it's about 0.3% of income that venue takes goes into the general community. So differential rates is one way of trying to get some more of the benefit of the money that's being earned by by the venue to actually get it into the community, and the local council can then use it to better effect. I don't think on its own it's an answer to all the problems, but you know, it seems fair.